First of all, welcome. Appreciate everybody being here today. One thing I'd like to talk about before we talk about the recap in Youngstown State and talking about SIU is just want to make sure that we recognize Jim LeClaire and his family, his wife Betty. We mentioned them and recognized them on Saturday on game day. Honorary letter winner, recognized as one of the college Hall of Fame members from our team, from our university. He's one of two. Jim Kleinsasser will go into as well here this fall. So obviously one of the greats of UND football. Played in the NFL for 10 years. He's one of 7 guys who has their jerseys honored here at UND. So just want to make sure that I mentioned that. It was awesome to see Betty and see the family, and for Jim to be recognized here. He goes down as, like I said, one of the great players to ever play here. So congrats to them. Recapping Youngstown State, I think starting fast is something that has been a staple for us so far this year. It was again on Saturday to go 3 and out, score on offense, to go 3 and out, score on offense again was really important to get off to a good start there. Little disappointed in the kickoff return right after that, and then really 2 poor third down calls by me that I thought I could have put our guys in a better situation there. So 14-7, and then I thought the response was really good. Sawyer, answered their kickoff return with a big kickoff return of our own, and then for Gavin Zebarth to get off there and go 60 yards and make it 21-7 and got the momentum right back on our sideline, we thought was really important. And then we kept it for the rest of the first half and went into halftime 28-7, which was obviously a good half of football for us. And then just got into a lull there, in the second half. I just thought, we just got out of sync, and Jerry maybe pressing a little bit on the offensive side. Isaac really trying to calm him down, and I just think you have a lot of success, and you want to try to build on that, and you got to continue to take, what the defense gives you. And I think that's something that we've been able to do here is that, defenses are, whether they're trying to take away the run game or whatever it is, we've been dynamic enough to be able to hit them in the other areas and be good enough there to continue to move the football. So just got out of sync. I think a positive was not that we played great on defense, but we were able to at least sustain some things and get through that lull on offense and still have a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter. And then I just thought our offense, I really liked the way we ended the game. They knew that we were trying to shorten the game, that we were going to run the football in that situation, and we just kept running it and to go on whatever it was, a 16-play, 8-minute drive and then score there was a really good sign as far as what good teams do. So moving on here now, I know there's been a lot of talk already just listening to the press conference and stuff like that about how big of a game it is and all that kind of stuff. To us, guys, we use the mantra here 1-0, and every day is important, and that goes back to January. Whether we're in conditioning, we're in off-season workouts, we're in spring ball, we're in PRPs in the summer, every day is important, and we talk about that with our guys all the time, that hey, the most important day is today, and how well we take care of our business today, whether that's recovering, whether that's getting in to be able to see the plan and start to learn the plan. Tomorrow's going to be now the next most important day, when we get there, and we keep working that way all the way through our system, and our year-round calendar I think is precise that way, and our guys understand that they need to put in the work, and if they do put in the work and do it at a high quality level, that the work works. So yeah, I think that's something that we will really talk about with our guys here this week, is continue to go 1-0 every single day. As far as SIU goes, a lot of talent, especially at the skill positions. Really, starts and ends with their quarterback. DJ Williams is 6'3", he's 215 pounds. He's how quarterbacks should look. He's got a fast arm. I think he's a really good decision maker, can do, no matter what sets and personnels and things like that. You can tell he knows where he's going with the football, what the read is pre-snap. I think he's accurate throwing the football, and then obviously he brings the element, which I think a lot of quarterbacks in our league now have, is being able to make plays with his feet too as well. And then I like all their receivers. I think as a group, they're really good. Number 9, McCray. Number 2, Davis. Number 13, Jay Jones. All those guys are seniors. They're well seasoned. They do a great job of being able to complement one another. They all have certain roles and plays I think that they're really good at. And then I think their tight ends are a good group too as well. 41's a good player, 83's a good player, 47's good. So we know we'll have our hands full, on defense. And then their defense I think is much improved too as well. Like really disciplined on the back end, maybe as a group. The best secondary that possibly we could have played so far this year. I think number 8 is a really good player. And then they got guys in the box too as well. 16, I think it's Bohannik is how you pronounce it, is really good too as well. Then their 2 DNs too as well. Number 11 and number 9 are guys that can win one-on-ones. They can get after the quarterback. Even bringing 4, those guys can do a good job in those situations. So they have our attention. We know we're walking into a 4-quarter deal, down there, and that we're going to have to play well to win. So, any questions for me?
As you look at the quarterback, I feel like a broken record, right? Like Kansas State had a mobile quarterback, Montana last week. Is there anything that stands out about this Southern Illinois quarterback that might feel any different, or do you feel like it's like, okay, we got a game plan that's similar to how we've just been doing all year?
I think size is one thing that's different with him. He's a big, strong guy. He's all of 6'3". Like I said, he's 215, maybe 220 pounds. He does a great job, like I said before, of extending plays with his feet. They have a bunch of really good RPO stuff with him as far as run-pass options. I think, he's done it long enough here now. He's been in that system for a couple years. Coach Hill being a former quarterback and a mobile guy himself, he was, a really good athlete coming out of high school and was the same type of quarterback, when he played at SIU. So there's definitely, I think, a similar skill set that he's looking for, similar to, what he was when he was there. So I think there's some similarities, but I think the one thing with him is, he gets downhill on guys as a big body. He took the first play against SEMO 75 yards for a touchdown and outran a few DBs. When he gets going downhill, he's a problem. He's really fast, and like I said, he's got some size and will fall forward and have some big long gains in those situations.
I can ask Coach Kostic this as well, but your punting game has really taken a step forward from the last couple of years. Anything from your chair that you're seeing that you like, or what have you seen from your punter?
Well, number one, I've always said this, hey man, you can get a lot better on special teams if your specs are good players. They make it a lot easier. If you got a good kicker, you got a good holder, you got a good punter, and I think Luke's an elite punter. I think he's really worked on his craft. I think the one thing that sometimes can get overlooked with specialists is just, our strength and conditioning program, our performance team, just all the body control stuff. Luke's stronger, you could tell there's more pop in his leg. This year I think he's gotten a little bit better too as well as far as, his routines and making sure that even during a game, you can get punters in a net for, all game long, and all of a sudden they're not the same as they were in the first quarter as they, as they are in the fourth quarter, So I just think his maturity, and him really figuring out what works for him, and then just going out there and performing. He's really consistent. He's simple in his approach. He catches it. He sets it. It's at the same spot every time. He's making really good foot-to-ball contact. And not only, like I said before, is he punting well. I think sometimes, you'll get overlooked that, hey, if you're doing a bunch of open field punts, your average is going to be good because you can go back there and hit it as hard as you want every single time. But are you putting it inside the 10 when you get in pin punt situations? Are you putting it, bottom of the numbers and into the sideline so everybody on the field knows where it's going and they can go cover it too as well? And then is your hang matching your distance? We don't want 60-yard punts that aren't in the air very long. So he's been able, I think, now to really understand, the entire game. Much as you grow as a quarterback, he's growing as a punter to make sure that he understands, hey, I need to put this ball here in this situation with this hang and to give our team a great opportunity to be able to be successful. So I think our net right now on punt somewhere around 43, which, anything for us over 42 we think is elite. So that's something that's a credit not only to our coverage guys, but our punters put us in some good situations too as well.
And then last one from me, just going to Carbondale over the years, is there just less and less overlap for you from having spent some time there, or is it unique or special heading back there?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, people, memories. It's been a minute now since I've been there. Obviously, it's been over a decade since I've been there. But had my middle son right at Carbondale Hospital, right there. So, just had a lot of good memories, a lot of good people, that were there. So that part will be awesome to be able to see them. Roger Lipe was a huge piece of my life down there, and kind of was involved with our guys in FCA and stuff like that. And his wife Sharon just passed away here. She was our football secretary, during the time that we were down there too as well. So just some really good memories. I mean, Nick was the high school coach when I was there at Carbondale High School, so it's kind of everything comes full circle as you get older and kind of go through your journeys in life and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be, business as usual come Saturday afternoon, but be fun to see some people that we haven't seen in a while.
This past weekend, DJ and his offense was able to break a lot of tackles. What do you say to the guys to make sure they're, not giving up those big chunk plays if they break a tackle on the outside? Yeah,
I mean, he's, like I said, he's 6'3", 215, 220 pounds, man. You better put your body on his body. Like, you're not tackling, a frail guy. He's strong. He does a good job in the run game, like I said, of falling forward, getting extra yards. And what's really impressive, when he gets up to speed, he's a hard tackle. Like, he's a hard guy to get on the ground. He's busted a bunch of long runs, and there's some momentum and definitely some violence the way he runs too as well. So we got to do a good job of making sure, when we talk about tackle fundamentals, near leg, near shoulder, getting our body on his body, like, that's going to be a big deal for us to be able to be successful on Saturday.
All right, and my next question is Malachi was named, the FCS, Stats Perform Player of the Week for defense. What can you say about his efforts on the field? Because for a guy that's been here for a while, he's really bought into what you guys are preaching here.
I just think, he approaches this thing the right way. He's got a growth mindset. He knows that he can still get better. He wants to get coached. He's in here asking as many questions as, some of our young guys are. When he's, sitting in the front row of a meeting, his notes are detailed. He's taking notes on things that he's probably heard, 15, 20, 25 times. So I just think, there's a lesson to be learned there for younger players. You want to be a pro, like we're going to talk about it, but sit in a room next to a guy who does it right every single day. And that's really his secret sauce, is he's consistent, right? We talk about it here all the time, consistently good, not occasionally great. And that's what he's about, and I just think he's a good leader too as well. Like, he's selfless. He has, he's got some charisma to him, but he'll take time for anybody on our team. He talks to everybody on our team. He'll take input, from anybody on our team, and he really takes a lot of pride, not only his play, but in the play of his position group, and then our defense too as well. Like, there's a standard there in him as the leader, and I think, that rubs off on our entire team. If he's playing well, if our linebackers are playing well, that helps our defense, and then that makes our offense have to play well too as well, when they're playing against them, and then vice versa. Some of the leaders that we have on offense, I feel, are very much like Malachi too as well. So I just think it's a product of a guy who's bought in, who's consistent every single day, and now he's getting rewarded for putting in that real work.
All right, my final question is from week one to now, what's been the biggest growth of your roster?
I just think once really I felt like it started, sometime right there in the middle of fall camp, in our training camp. Once we really got to invest heavily in football with these guys, I'm talking, hours upon hours in a day. I just thought the confidence of our guys, just in the approach that they had, buying into, the messages that they were getting from the assistant coaches, from our culture. You saw it really from quarter one. Like I said, when we got on the field at Kansas State, there was a lot of unknowns, and in a hurry there, we felt like, hey, man, we matched up and we were playing at a high level. And that doesn't mean that we can't grow and learn. Like, there's still a lot of things that we need to get better at. But I just think, within that last, 8 weeks now, we've saw some serious growth. And I think that's a product of, like I said, putting in precise work the entire year, but, just building steadily through spring, through the early summer, into late summer, into training camp. Our guys put a lot of work in, all right? A lot of work when nobody was watching too as well. We talk about that a lot around here, like extra is the standard, all right? Like, you got to go out there and be willing to work with your teammates. And, I see our quarterbacks, our receivers, our tight ends, our running backs all summer long, just out there working together, just making sure that that they get the timing down, that they get the work in that they need in order to be successful. So I just think it's been a product of all those reps, and now they have a lot of confidence in doing it and polishing and detailing, the plays that we've been running here now for a while.
I know the common theme of this presser has been Williams, but how do you balance defending against a guy that's a dual threat like that? And what's the key to not overcommitting?
Yeah, great question. And they have enough other weapons too as well, that I think you get so focused on, stopping one person that now all of a sudden, hey, are you leaving yourself vulnerable for some other things too as well? You can only deploy so many resources, on one person. Now, obviously, I think he is a quarterback. He's not a guy back there that's, run first. Like, he's accurate. He's got a strong arm. I mean, he's a really good football player. So we have to do a good job, number one, of making sure that, we make him play quarterback, get him to second and third reads and fourth reads and make him really have to, figure out what we're doing defensively. And then when things break down, we got to make sure we do a good job of having people in position that can limit his yards, at those in those situations. So, I just think it's a combination of things. You can't just sit in one thing all day. You got to make them work a little bit back there. And then, when you try to get into some of those passing situations, let's try to make him have to throw from the pocket, number one, or if we do, if he does get out in certain areas, then we got to make sure we know which areas we're vulnerable in and which areas we want him to be able to scramble to, that we have people there that can go try to run him down.
Kind of bouncing off of that, SIU leads the conference in scoring largely because of Williams. What's the biggest challenge for your defense in terms of communication and disciplines against an offense like this?
Yeah, I think the one thing that, you look at that they're really good at is explosive plays. They have a ton of chunk plays, both running the ball and throwing the ball, just in the drop back game, in the RPO game. Like, they're very diverse in what they do offensively, and obviously they have a leader back there. They're taking advantage of all his athletic ability and a guy who really understands the offense, and that, if there's a blown coverage, if there's a coverage that has a weakness, like, they're taking advantage of it. So a lot of things that they do, I think, just pre-snap, being able to see where you're at. I think he knows where he's going with the ball, a lot of times just based on how you align and what he sees. So we have to do, like I said, do a really good job of being able to make him play quarterback after the ball snapped, and try to make things look the same, or show him one thing and then give him another thing, after the ball's been snapped. But yeah, it's us going out there and playing fundamentally sound, like you talked about, communicating. Like, that's going to be a huge piece of it, that guys are on the same page, and that our guys who are talking are loud. Loud players are confident players, so guys are talking that are supposed to be, and then the guys that are listening understand that, hey, these are some of the the checks and things like that could come out based off of motions and shifts and formations and those types of things. So just getting all 11 guys on the same page, I think, is going to be huge for us, and it's something that our guys have really taken ownership with so far this year.
I know it's going to take the whole defense to have success, but is there any one specific group or specific person that you feel like is going to need to step up even more for this week?
No, I think you want to be a championship football team. You want to have an opportunity to be able to win a league and all those types of things. You can't have any chunks in your armor or chips in your armor. I think you gotta be good on all three levels, and everybody's gotta be on their very best, and understand that our family needs their best in order for us to be able to be successful. So obviously, I think some things are important. That you can win the line of scrimmage is something that's really big. If you can get pressure without having to blitz every single time and things like that, obviously it makes your life easier on the back end too as well. There's not as much risk involved. So things like that, that we'll figure out as we go through the game. Where the advantages lie on that Saturday. But overall, we just have to play collectively good as a unit.
All right, like Coach says, thanks for being here. Excited to be here on Monday with a win under our belt against Youngstown. Really excited to get a good taste in our mouth after last year and whatever happened there. But just have a little bit of redemption. Excited for our guys to come out and play fast, do a lot of good things. Run game, pass game, be on the same page, play well. I thought our offensive line did a lot of really good things. Our tight ends and backs did a lot of good things as well. And then just continuing to try and stress to become more explosive. did a lot of really good things in the red zone. It was fun to be down there a bunch and be 100% with points. Special teams was big for the one, getting them to jump off sides, but our guys took advantage of making some big plays down there in the red zone because Youngstown's a really tough team and a really good group and really good coaching staff, so nothing comes easy there. But excited to see our guys go out and perform well. Still think we can be more consistent on third downs. We felt like we were really good in the first half, and then second half, like Coach said, would really have liked to have had the third quarter over again and get out of those lulls. But again, that's why it's called a team sport. Special teams was awesome. Defense was awesome. When we were down, they were up, and we really, did a good job of playing team football, finishing the game out in the fourth quarter. But really excited for our guys. Did a great job getting a big W there. Really looking forward to this weekend, though. Getting to get down to Carbondale and get a chance to play against a really talented program and a really good team down there. But, excited. It's exactly why you come here and why you coach here is to play in games and coaching games like that. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That third quarter, was it a chance maybe for some learning experience in terms of like how you handle being up 28-7 in the third quarter and maybe how you have to try to replicate what you had done in the first half?
I think looking back at it, it's probably, more so on me just in terms of maybe getting too conservative with the play calls, becoming too predictable with the play calls, because I felt like the intentions and the intensity of which we came out was not what I wanted it to be, was not what, our staff wanted it to be. We talked about coming out and winning the middle eight. I think that's something that Coach Schmidt has really hammered since he's been here, is kind of winning that middle 8 minutes of the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half and doing a really good job of starting fast in that situation, so that we can get off to a good start. Because, like I said, right before we walked out after halftime, it was like, hey, we start with the ball. Let's go, put our foot on their throat and go finish this thing the right way and play hard and compete our butts off. But, just on me to get us in better calls. But also credit to Youngstown. Like I said, they got a good group of coaches and players. I mean, they did some things different that, we were ready for, but just they were a little bit more intentional about it, I think. And like I said, on me to get us into better calls so that we can have more success there in the middle 8.
So Jerry's up to 17 touchdowns to 1 interception, and really the 1 interception kind of gets taken out of his arm there at Montana. So what can you say about the decisions he's making or the way he's seeing the field? Like what is allowing him to just really limit his mistakes?
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like this was the game that he could have played a lot cleaner. Statistics are fun and cool and nice, but I'd rather have the 2 wins that we, lost, So, and I know he would say the same thing if he was standing right here. We're not statistic people, He's done a great job of preparing, getting better every day, competing, every single week to try and be the best player he can be, but also help our offense to be the best team that they can be. But he again has just done a good job of maturing and understanding what defenses are doing and how we're trying to attack them. At the end of the day, I think he can continue to trust his protections and his progressional reads. I think his footwork can always be a little bit better, so it can help his base as he works through those progressions. It's on me to do a good job in individual drills and things of that nature to try and help him through that. But it's also on tight ends, backs, receivers to make sure that they're hitting the route depth at the proper time. We're protecting our butts off right now in protection. It takes everybody. Tailbacks, tight ends, receivers, obviously, in terms of route depths and stuff like that. And then the O-line. I mean, they've done a great job. But even in the 1 sack that we did give up, to be honest with you, it's on Jerry just seeing and trusting the coverage and the call that we gave him. So he's maturing and he's getting better. And like I said, Tom, the statistics are fun and cool, but man, I'd rather have those 2 wins that we have as L's right now. And I know he would say the same, but he's doing a heck of a job. And, I think that goes into playing good team football. Coach Schmidt has preached that since he's been here. We're all in this thing together, and the third quarter, we weren't very good on offense, but they were really good in terms of special teams and defense, helping us get back and get started to finish the game the right way. So it's all a team thing, and he would say the same as well.
in that game, this past Saturday, we saw, Gavin. Normally, you're up the middle, gets you 3 or 4 yards, but seeing him get that long run, what was that like? Seeing him be able to break one off like that?
Well, he's getting really challenged and pushed every single day, and Gavin's a really good running back that we're continuing to try to push to get better every single day. And I think when you practice with intentional focus, he's been getting hammered on protections and pressing his aiming point and just running through the smoke. And at times, all of our backs, have to work on that. And Coach Davis has just done a really good job of challenging those guys to be good in all phases, not just be an inside runner or not just be an outside runner or not just be a pass catcher. You got to be able to do it all. And I think Gavin had his best week of practice. When you look at it from fall camp to the season that we're in, he had his best practice, for the week. And it shows up, really excited for him. I was really proud of him. It was his birthday. He competed his butt off. He played really well, didn't get too high, didn't get too low. Because Gavin is an emotional player. As much as you may not see it, helmet on, pads on, all that stuff, he's an emotional player. And if you can have him in the right mode, he can be unstoppable, And I just couldn't credit him and Coach Davis enough for being a good marriage, working together and challenging him, because he had a great week of practice and boom, it shows up on Saturday. So really proud of him, but the O-line and the tight ends and the receivers at times did a really good job helping him, create that those lanes to go finish those runs. But really excited for him. He's getting a lot better.
All season long you've been talking about, hey, we can always be better and everything.
Yeah.
But what can you say about the play of BJ? I mean, he's really stepped up in terms of being a really good option for Jerry.
Yeah, I think there's a level of confidence there. Jerry feels very confident in throwing him the football in kind of all situations. I think BJ's done a good job of, again, getting consistently better every single day. The challenge to him is, it's like I tell him, you're playing in the Big Ten of FCS football here. You got to go run block and you got to go be physical, and that's in your routes and that's in the run game. And, he's taken that head on and he's gotten better as he's worked through it. And as a result, it helps him get open, create separation in the pass game. So been really proud of him, just in terms of his consistency. Again, I think a guy that has had some ups and downs in terms of practice, but had a really good week of running and practicing hard and working through some things, and just really proud of his performance. But there's a lot of room for him to grow because his talent level is extremely high. Got to get him to be consistent all the time, and he'll be really special.
All right, my final question is, as we heard from Haydn earlier, for the tight ends, they've really bought into this. Hey, we go block. Sometimes we go out and catch the ball, but for you, what's so special about this tight end group that they're really bought into what you guys are trying to do right now?
Yeah, I think that's, like Coach Schmidt says, a low ego, high output group. Just in general, we've had a ton of them play, and there's nobody in there that has an ego like, hey, I need the ball, hey, I need this many reps or anything like that. They've done a really great job of understanding the game plan as we've gone through week by week by week. And it's an older group, with Aiden and Haydn and Mason and Grant and those guys. They do a really good job of understanding what we're doing, why we're trying to do it, and then attacking defenses as they change from week to week or day to day, field zone to field zone. So couldn't be more proud of that group. Coach Haug does a great job with them, getting them going and getting them competing and playing really hard. A good group that's just consistently good. So it's exciting to have Jerry actually see them and when they're open, get them the football in the pass game, because they're up there slugging it out in the run game and doing a good job. We got to keep that going.
Is there anything that stood out to you in film-wise about SIU's defense that you feel like you guys need to put an emphasis on this week for your offense? Yeah,
fast, super fast. They have great team speed, play extremely hard, a variety of different coverages. They do a really good job in their disguises. Like Coach said, probably one of the best secondary groups that we've seen. It's a big challenge. They're a really, really good group. They got a lot of really good D linemen that play hard and compete. Do a really good job on the edge of creating pressure and shortening the edges for the quarterbacks. And we'll stress our tackles for sure. And then, their backers are sideline to sideline, super physical, do a great job with their hands. And their secondary, again, like I said, Coach mentioned it, super, super talented. And it makes it really difficult on a coach and on a coordinator and on a quarterback when you go into a game plan of when everything looks relatively the same. That makes it really, really hard, and I think they do a really good job with that. Their defensive coordinator used to live on my couch, so I will like to say that. Where he got is, all because of me and the pizza that we used to eat at my house when he lived with me at Northern State. No, I'm kidding. He's a good guy. But, they do a heck of a job, and we got a lot of work. We got our work cut out for us. So we'll have to be ready to go, but just telling you where we're at, I mean, I'm focused on us getting better. And the exciting thing is that we've gotten better, I just see us continuing to grow and get better. And I keep talking to our guys about the new standard and just instilling the belief system into you. You can go anywhere, score as many points as you can, and win as many games as you can. So I want to instill belief and confidence and excitement about it. So, the focus is on us, not on them.
Is there a specific group of guys that you feel like is going to need to step up for this week in order for you guys to have success by any means?
I mean, I would answer it the same as Coach Schmidt, in terms of the defense. I mean, we all got to play well. It's all levels. You're in these valley games. You can't have chinks in your armor. I mean, if you do, it's going to be exposed extremely fast and extremely early, and people are going to hammer you and take it, make it obvious, make it known. And they're going to take advantage of what you have in terms of chinks and, really get after you. So we got to all play well. I love the phrases that we have: consistently good, not occasionally great. I mean, I try and embody that in my life every single day. Our offense, we're trying to do the same thing with our individual groups, our individual players. We all got to be on point, But, again, I don't want to be focused on them. I want to be focused on us and our belief system, because we'll get the game plan to them as quickly as we can and get them to learn it, get them to understand it, get them to trust it, and then believe, like, hey, we can go down there and play with anybody and be on the offensive, as I tell them all the time. That's why you're called the offense. You're supposed to be on the offensive.
There were a lot of offensive successes on your road win against Northern Iowa. Is there anything that you kind of want to see the team do this week on the road? I know it's a totally different team that you're facing, but is there anything that stood out to you from that win? Yeah, I mean, just the usuals. Right now for us, the tendencies have been, not overly good on third downs and not overly good in the red zone. And so I think, like I talked about earlier, for the first time, we played really, really good team football. I felt like outside of the third quarter, we didn't have any turnovers. Third downs in the first half, we were 50%, doing really, really well. 4 for 4 in the red zone. Just playing good team football. So I think that continues, and I think that's all about your consistency. Like I said last week, we changed up how we've practiced to emphasize the things that we feel like we need to get better at. And I feel like our kids are in a groove now. They're in kind of a similar week-to-week schedule with understanding how important those situations are. And, I think it's proven on Saturday with being better in those situations, but always can be better, So just want to be great on third downs and want to be great in the red zone, because that's going to, and taking care of the ball, obviously, that's going to prove to be good winning football and give us the most opportunities that we can to score as many points as we can.
Anything else, Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Well, Haydn, we don't look backwards too often here, but got to ask you the touchdown catch. Mm-hmm. Bring me through it from your perspective. What plays out? What'd you see?
Yeah, all week we were practicing that play. We're in 23 personnel, so we knew there'd be all up close to the line of scrimmage, and all week we were practicing that there would just be one backer that I'd have to avoid. But in that specific play, there was another safety over the top of the backers that a little bit more traffic than intended. But I got through the backer, got past the safety, and stumbled a little bit, but I kept my feet, and glad Jerry trusted me and gave it up and trusted me to go in there and make a play. So,
what do you think was the difference on Saturday between kind of the dominant nature of the first half offensively and then a little bit of a lull in the third quarter? Like, what was the difference between when you guys were successful and when you were kind of stubbing your toe there for a little bit?
I think it's a lot of a lack of focus. I mean, we started off with 28-7 in the first half, so I think we might have kind of laid back a little bit, which we can't do that. We just always have to keep the foot on the pedal and third quarter, end of third quarter was 28-17 or whatever it ended up being. But I think we just have to keep our focus there all the time because we can't let up on the gas, especially in a Valley opponent. So.
It's early in the week. Have you had a chance to kind of get an impression of Southern Illinois and what you might be facing this weekend?
I have a little bit. I mean, yesterday we got into them a little bit, but again, they're another good Valley opponent that we have to go to their place and come out with a big W.
Like you said, you guys are facing off against another Valley opponent, and they've got a pretty good defense. But what's it like having a quarterback that has not blinked at all this season and continues to go out there and produce?
It's great. I mean, it helps a lot. Having a good quarterback is a dream of every team's, but he stepped in and he knew he was going to get the job done. Like, his confidence throughout, even last year when Simon was playing, he's the next man up, and just the confidence that he has to come in there and do what he has to do is very evident.
And for you guys as tight ends, obviously you have you have to go catch passes but also block. What's it like seeing this tight end group, just really buying in on what this offense is doing?
Oh, it's been great. We have a few new guys, a few guys that have stayed too, but it's been awesome to see all of us have a part, whether it be just blocking, catching, all of it. I'm just happy to see that we're all having the success we're having, but there's a lot of work that we still got to improve on, so, yeah.
All right, then my final question is, you already talked about, making that catch, but afterwards, what was it like knowing that anyone can catch passes in this offense, and Jerry's willing to spread the wealth?
It's good to know that, like you said, he'll throw to anybody. It's always fun to, get those opportunities and whatnot. We're blocking most of the time, but getting those opportunities to not just me, but Mason South, Watson Hayford, other guys like that. It's nice to know that he's willing to spread the wealth to us as well. So.
Now that you've gotten your first touchdown, how much does that affect your confidence kind of going forward with the next couple of games?
Well, for sure boosts it, for sure, knowing that he's willing to, like I said, throw it to spread the wealth a little bit. And I still got to do my job on the blocking side of it too, but I'm happy to know that he's willing to spread the ball a little bit, so, yeah.
What parts of your game are you kind of focusing on heading into this week? Is there anything specific?
There's one thing I lacked a little bit was getting the blocking, DNs, on the backside of inside zone runs. So I think that's the main thing I need to focus on this week is on my blocking side of the game. So.
How do you see your role kind of evolving more with this offense moving forward for the rest of the season? Obviously, you had that touchdown and everything else in between, but how do you see it evolving?
Like I said, I feel like us as tight ends, I think we're a big factor in this offense, whether it be blocking or catching. I just think utilizing us in ways will be very effective for the team. So I think that will be very beneficial for us.
Anything else, Ray? Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
This week you face another really mobile quarterback. As a defense, is it starting to feel like you're drawing on a similar experience to last week facing Youngstown State when you start looking at Southern Illinois?
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to have some probably similar carryover with the game plan, just with, a quarterback that's mobile, that can run the ball as well as throw the ball. I'm not too familiar yet with all the Southern Illinois stuff. Coach are still kind of putting game plans in for that, but I'm sure there'll be a little bit of carryover with kind of just the mobile quarterback as well as someone who can throw the ball. So.
Well, Brungard from Youngstown State ran for 176 in you guys last year. You held him to significantly under his average last week. In your opinion, what was the difference? What was the key change?
I just think probably just our preparation and just being confident in kind of the calls that we were getting this year. Not that last year we weren't as prepared, I guess, but just being more confident this year in the calls and stuff, and just really being more prepared, I guess. So.
Well, Malachi McNeil was named the National Player of the Week. You played with him enough. What makes him special?
He's a leader for our program, and I think everyone knows that. He leads by example, and he leads vocally. And so, what you're going to get from Malachi every time he steps on the field, so it's no surprise that he kind of won that award and played so well last week against Youngstown. So.
All right. Obviously, Southern Illinois' quarterback DJ's, mobile and everything, but they also have a lot of pass catchers that are a lot of speed. How important is it for you guys to not bite on those play fakes and knowing like, okay, this is a speedster that might try to blow the top?
Yeah, I mean, we got to be really good in the secondary. I mean, every game in the Missouri Valley, you're going to play good receivers, and every team's got them. So I'm sure they're going to have good receivers. And us in the secondary, we're just going to have to do our job and make sure we hold up in the back end for our defense. So.
And playing in this defensive scheme, what do you love about being in a 4-2-5?
I mean, with this year and Coach Schmidt, I mean, it's a lot of man. So as like a corner and as a safety, as a nickel, as a DB, you're really challenged to play man defense. And so it's been fun just to figure that out with kind of my teammates and try and get better at man and come to work every day and just keep getting better. So.
And then obviously, with Youngstown State, you guys lost to them last year. This year, you get the win. For the guys that were there the last season, what was that like knowing that you got that win and now you get ready for another game? You don't have to look back on this.
I mean, it's a big game. I mean, we're a different team than last year. But I know there's a lot of guys on the team last year that kind of experienced that big loss when we were there. So, I mean, it was just good kind of to get that monkey off our back of just knowing that we can beat all these teams in our conference and we can be competitive for all the teams in the Valley. So.
As a DB, what's the biggest challenge when you're up against a quarterback like DJ who can extend plays and make throws on the run? Yeah,
I just think we're going to be put in a lot of long coverage situations, and so we got to be ready for the second play as the defensive back. So, you might be thinking you're guarding someone pretty well to start the play, but there's always two plays with the quarterback that's as mobile as he is, so we're just going to have to be ready for long coverages.
How important is communication on the back end when you're facing a quarterback? I know you kind of touched on that, but how important is that emphasis for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important every week just to make sure we're communicating at a super high level so that we can go out there and kind of do the jobs that our coaches are wanting us to do. So, yeah.
Facing a top-tier quarterback like Williams, does that kind of bring some extra motivation to the DB room by any chance?
I don't think so. I mean, I think every week we know we're playing good players every week in the Valley, and every game's a big game in the Valley, so I think we're just trying to get better this week than we were last week and just have a good outcome this coming Saturday. So.